I'm really pleased that you're all here. I'm Juliana. I am the founder and the executive director of an organization called Lie Detectors. Can you just tell me if you were at the panel just now? Put up your hand if you were at the panel just now. Okay, who was not at the panel just now? But half, right? Okay. Well, okay. So our session today is about building resilience to disinformation in a digital age, or fake news. There you go. And I'm going to tell you what we're going to do together. So first of all, I'm going to give you a really brief introduction to lie detectors. I'm going to keep it short because we already talked about it quite a lot during the panel, so I don't want anybody getting bored over here who've all been there. I'm going to tell you about how we do our work. I really want to hear who you all are, because it actually affects how we do our work. Because then we're going to go into some interactive work. I'm going to ask you all to get onto your phones and get onto Slido. Do you all know what Slido is? Does anybody not know what Slido is? Slido, go into slido.com, and my colleague Adeline, who is, I think, online, I really hope she's online and backing us up, is going to walk us through it. Okay, so I'm going to undo the PowerPoint presentation. She'll come on, because we want to do a little poll with you. I'm going to show you how you fit into the statistics that we've gathered from the 1,000 teachers and 20,000 children that we've worked with so far, right? So that's why we're going to do that poll. And then we're actually going to get on and actually work on some pieces of some online posts which may or may not be true, okay? And you will have time to work together in groups of 7 on these different posts. Is that okay? Are you all okay with me standing down here rather than up there? I think it's better, don't you? Yeah? Okay, good. Okay. It's very strange. It's my first time standing in front of a group of masked people, and it's very odd. I have not done this before. So, and also my first time doing it together with my wonderful colleague Adeline, whom I can't see, and I really hope she's there.
Can you hear me?
Oh! What?
Yes, I'm there. Okay, you can hear me. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Adeline. Do you want to say where you are?
Yes, so I'm based in Brussels, so I don't see many of you, but I see a few of you. I don't know if you see me, but we'll try it this way.
You can.
So I am here in my home office in Brussels, and I'm very happy to be participating and helping and supporting Juliana in this workshop. And we have also a few people online here, so that's really great. For those of you who are online, I will accompany you as much as I can here, and we'll try to make it best, to make it work best online and offline. So please ask me your questions in the chat, and I'll be happy to help you out.
Brilliant, it's amazing, it works. So this is a total experiment for us. So we've been sending journalists into classrooms in person until March 2020, and then since then we've been sending them in via video conferencing. And what we've never done is do half and half, one person in one place and one in another, but I think it's going to work out. So I'll tell you something briefly about lie detectors. So Lie Detectors is we're an independent and journalist-led non-profit. We work to empower young people aged 10 to 15 and their teachers to sort fakes from facts online, and also to understand how journalism works. That's why we work with journalists and not with coaches. And we are currently advising the European Commission as a member of 2 expert groups which deal with this, and we're really happy to see that Brussels is taking this super, super seriously, which we hope is going to translate into guidelines for teachers and things to do with Erasmus Plus for those of you who are involved with that. So, you know, our work sometimes can look like these various things. You know, you can see in the top left-hand pre-pandemic visit. In the middle, there's a pandemic visit in Austria. The top right-hand corner is a visit that we paid to a school in Molenbeek in Belgium, which is one of the poorest parts of Brussels, actually. And in this school, there was no online, no access whatsoever. So when we were talking in the panel about inclusiveness, this is one of the schools that would be really struggling, because we were talking about digital literacy and deciphering of online posts with children who did not even have a projector or any kind of access to the internet. We work with 250 journalists, some of which are posted in the middle, who volunteer their time for us. And we work quite a lot on advocacy, as you can see, and increasingly we have been training teachers as well, because while the pandemic has made things really dire and difficult, it has also really sensitized not just children and parents, but also teachers about what's going on online, and they want to do something about it. So, we work to break silos, so we send journalists into classrooms, they give 90-minute impulse sessions. Often the teachers invite us just because they want a 90-minute coffee break, because those of you who are teachers will know what a difficult profession it is. Often they just say, ignore me, I'm just sitting in the back, I'm just going to have a cup of coffee. It's true. And then the journalists do their work, and they talk about two things. They talk about disinformation, but they also talk about how journalism works, because we want to be really honest about what the difference is, and that difference is becoming so difficult to tell so often. We are philanthropically funded. We take no money from platforms or political entities, which is becoming increasingly important to the teachers that we work with, and is almost becoming a bit of a unique selling point. And what we find is that this virtuous circle that we're trying to paint there is kind of working, because the journalists kind of fertilize the curiosity of the children, hand over journalistic skills. Basically, they're handing over journalistic tools to the kids. The kids take this home. The kids also use their own innate, and sorry, I say kids, but many of them are teenagers, but the young people, the students, use their innate skills to start actually looking at information online in a little more critical way. And that then, where the interest of the children exists, the interest of the teachers often follows, which is why we're now working so intensely with teachers. And our journalists have told us that the work that they do actually, and the things that they find out from the students and the teachers in the classroom, actually fertilize their own newsroom discussions about a new generation of news consumers. So that's where the cycle kind of closes. So I want to just know, and Adeline, I don't know whether you can do this online and then tell us afterwards, but maybe we'll go through it one by one. Maybe we can just say online, maybe put it in the chat. But in this group, can we just very briefly have an idea of who's here? Who here is a student? Excellent, great. So we've got Adeline, we've got, you can't see, we've got something like 5 or 6 students here. Who is a teacher? Oh, wow, excellent, great. Who here is another kind of educator? Maybe not a school teacher, but in the educating profession? Okay, oh, wow. So can all of you who think about who do education as a living in some way, put up your hands? Okay, that's brilliant. There's lots. That's fantastic. And policymakers? Nice. What about teachers? What about journalists? How many journalists are there here? Yeah, me too. Okay, great. Adeline, I don't know what you got.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
So we have researchers and people working for the government. So we're about 12 people here, so it's interesting. I think the answers will come a bit later, but we have the same kind of audience here.
Oh, fantastic. And can we go straight on to Slido?
I think I can share my screen, probably, yes. I will do that now.
Yeah, so what we want to know a little bit is about your online news consumption, and also the extent to which you think about disinformation and talk about disinformation if you are in a learning landscape or a teaching landscape. So if you can just follow Adeline's instructions, that would be amazing. And if you all have, yeah, can you do that?
Can
Adeline, I'm handing
see
over
the
to you.
Slido? You see my screen right now, right? The Slido.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Then maybe you can join us. So if you go on the website slido.com and you type the code reset 2021, and then you can follow us here. You can also use the QR code. I think this is now something that is familiar to many of us in those pandemic days. So you can join us here, and then we will have a little poll, and maybe I can start with the first question. You can always see here how to join. You can also join online. So the first question that we have is about the social media apps that you use to inform yourself about the world. So you can take the apps that you use once a week or more. And so I see that you're already starting. I hope you can see that in the room as well. That's quite interesting. We have 92% of the audience that is using Facebook, 63 Instagram, 50 YouTube, 40 Twitter. YouTube is kind of similar to Instagram. Please don't hesitate. There are also other apps below it, so don't hesitate to scroll. There is also WhatsApp, Snapchat, TikTok maybe, or Reddit. It would be interesting maybe later on to see if you're familiar with those. There's Telegram, Twitch, or Discord, Signal, or maybe Fortnite even. What do we have? I think the most popular ones are Facebook with 79%, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. I think we will maybe keep that in mind because that will make sense with the things that Juliana will discuss a bit further with you, I think. But maybe we can move on to the next question. And the next question is for everyone, but maybe more particularly the educators among our audience. Is information and media literacy important to discuss at school? So I see that out of the 25 people who answered, there's no, which is probably unsurprising given that we were at the ResetEDU event today. Yeah, I see answers are still coming in, and it's a majority of yes. That is also something that we'll keep in mind for the rest of the discussion. And maybe we can move on to a third question that we have for you, and that is, to date, have you worked on disinformation and media literacy with your students? And here I see also the answers are coming in. 100% say yes at the moment. A few of you haven't. And yes, I see this is now a bit more nuanced. Answers are still coming in, but the yes is still prevalent. 1 out of 4 would say no, I'd say at the moment, which is really something that we need to keep in mind because this will become more important when we continue our discussion. So I will share my screen because I think Juliana will pass on the word to you, but we will come back to that later on, I think.
Thank you, Adeline. That's brilliant. And I think that actually the results from what apps you use to inform yourselves, we almost should have actually divided the answers into students and non-students. I'll tell you why in a little bit. There we go. So I'm just going to rewind a moment and tell you what we see as being the problem with disinformation. That disinformation, it's traveling in an ever more sophisticated way at breakneck speed. That's not changed, but in a very sophisticated way. We're ever more cleverly splicing truth with untruths and making it really difficult for fact checkers or content moderators to remove. It's also, many of you were saying you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on WhatsApp. These are all platforms that are either encrypted, like WhatsApp, or visual, like Instagram and YouTube, and that makes it phenomenally difficult for any of the Facebook fact-checking armies or you know, whatever they call themselves, even if they really wanted to remove this kind of content. We worry about the polarization online that is triggered by the algorithms that further divide us into groups. We worry what happens when this kind of disinformation travels under the radar screen, not just at election time when everybody's really paying attention, not through big WikiLeaks dumps, you know, but actually like small pieces of disinformation that just insidiously erode our trust in facts, which we talked about during the panel so much. And that many people don't actually know that fact-checking services are out there, and even if they do, and even if the fact-checkers can catch the disinformation, they might actually not believe what they read from the fact-checkers. We worry a lot about what happens if this is targeting people much younger than we thought. We never thought when we started Lie Detectors that we would be talking to people who are 10 years old about this sort of thing, and yet we are, and they tell us what they receive. And what we also worry about is this generational gap. And the generational gap is one where the adults and the non-adults are so separated in terms of what kind of information sources they use that they find it really hard to talk about it. And the teachers may either be unaware of what's going on these other apps, or they might actually feel incapable of addressing it. And I don't actually know what the next slide is. Oh yes, exactly. So hang on, I'll go back. And you know, all of this has been borne out in the last few years, you know. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you how your answers compared to the answers that we have got from all the teachers and children that we've worked with so far. So when we ask teachers whether this should be an issue to be taught in classrooms, we've seen that since the pandemic, the interest has gone up radically, you know. So if in 2020, early 2020, there were 3 and 4 teachers who were saying, yeah, this is something that we really need to be teaching, it's now almost 100%. And equally, the willingness of teachers to address this in the classroom has also gone up. Like that, which is actually I'm not very good at maths, that's why I do this kind of work. That's a 50% increase in not a very long time. What we still see, however, is this gap, right? And it's this gap that we're worried about, or rather actually incentivized by, because there's almost 100% of teachers who want to, and fewer than 70%. And that's the 30 percentage points gap that we actually really need to be targeting right now while you're all interested, while those of you who are teachers are really thinking about this daily. Also, I'm now going to show you another slide, which I don't know if it's, which is going to show you the difference in consumption of information between adults and kids and teenagers. So the pink is the kids and the blue is the adults. And when you go to a lot of conferences, and these days I go by webinar and listen to this stuff, the things that most people actually talk about are Facebook and Twitter. But you can see that, you know, the kids are not on Facebook, and Twitter is just not, that doesn't rank that highly, right? What people really don't talk about at all yet, because they don't understand it, is TikTok and Snapchat and Twitch and Discord. These are live video, some of you know, right? And I wish that I'd asked it separately, because I bet you guys were the ones who entered TikTok, right? And Snapchat, whatever, and Twitch and things like that, right? I'd love to hear it separately, but I'm a little bit worried about time. So why this matters is that, first of all, young people are largely on their own. And if they're not on their own, they're on the kind of platforms which, as I said, are not very easy to moderate. There's no one there holding your hand and wiping it and making it go away for you. So now, you know, if you think about this, then this is kind of like, this is behind all of our work, right? We need everybody to be able to do this by themselves. We can't wait for somebody to solve the problem for us. And so we work with, oh God, Adeline, do you want to talk us through the fakes while I hand out the pieces of paper?
Yes, of course.
Can you do that? And can you move, are you able to move the PowerPoint presentation, or do I have to do it?
I don't think I can do that.
Okay. So I'll do, no, what I'm going to do, basically, I can't hold my microphone and change the PowerPoint presentation and hand out the pieces of paper. So that's why, oh, maybe somebody can you help me? Oh, fantastic. Okay, no, you know what? I think I'm good, because Sonia's going to help me.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, so can we have, are they one of each? Everybody's got all of them. Has everybody got all of them? Everybody's got all of, oh, okay, fine. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so everybody gets one of these and one of these. Yeah? One of those and one of those. Okay, so basically what you're going to do now is I'd really love for you to break into groups, and I'm going to tell you what you're going to do. So, oh, Adeline, could I have the PowerPoint presentation again, please? There we go. So, we're going to work with 3 online posts, okay? And some of them are super easy and sort of fun. One of them is really tricky and very political. It's kind of not really what we work with the kids, and I'll tell you why later on, right? But I wanted you to show. You're now getting printouts of the 3 posts with instructions, and you're also getting a checklist. And the checklist, so I'm going to walk you through it, okay? So we have post number 1, a viral WhatsApp chain letter that tells us that a Chinese doctor has told us that all we need to do is boil up some water, some garlic and some water, and bingo, we don't have to worry about COVID anymore. True or false? Let's see whether you can find out. This, by the way, is very popular and made the rounds in so many different languages and so virally that the World Health Organization actually made a big poster to put up in places where there was no broadcast or broadband, so people would be able to see the answer, whether it's true or false. Number 2 is this story about, I don't know if you remember, in 2017, there was a really terrible hurricane in Texas called Hurricane Harvey, and shortly afterwards, what did we see on the highway but a shark swimming down it? As you can see, it was retweeted a lot, and since then has been retweeted again and again and again and again. And finally, we have this story. That's really the hardest one, okay? This is about Syrian refugees setting light to Germany's oldest church on New Year's Eve a few years ago while chanting Al-Qaeda-inspired slogans. And by the way, this is one that we very rarely work with, just because it's really complicated. But what I would really love for you to do now, and Adeline is going to handle the online newsrooms, but basically I would like you to turn into groups of, can you do that? Can you, oh, okay, this is why I wanted you to sit together. Are they allowed to move? Are people allowed to move? Can you can we have 7 people here? I'm trying to turn you into 5 groups. 7 people? Yes. 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 Brilliant. Yes, fantastic. You're not allowed to get too close to each other, but we'd really love for you to work together. 7 people here? Yes. Just make yourselves into groups, and then I'll count you. I don't think that you're allowed to sit that closely together. Sorry, may I just say, please be careful, there's COVID, okay? Please, please, please stay separately from each other, okay? You're okay? Okay. Okay, so that's great. That's a nice circle. You've got plenty of room between you, okay? Tell me when you're ready. Okay, so I think we're ready, right? So Adeline, you can hear me, right? And I don't know whether you can see, but we have 1, 2, is that a small group over there? Okay, 1, okay, that's group, so I'm gonna number you, okay? I'm gonna number you, I'm gonna assign you numbers. You're group 1, okay? You're group 2, you're group 3, you're group 4, and you're group 5, okay? You're group 5. You're number 5, you're number 4, 3, 2, 1, okay? So, and now, I think I've forgotten what we have to do. Okay, yes, so now you have 15 minutes to see whether you can unravel these things together. And some of you will find these things super easy, and some of you will find these things much harder. I think that in this room you'll probably do quite well, but we'd quite like you to think about also the kind of conversations that one could be having about these posts, even if they seem fairly harmless, like perhaps the shark one. And you have instructions for each of them, right? So the numbers that you're getting is, I'm sorry, there we go, sorry. So group number 1 and 4, can you please do the garlic story? Yes? Cool. Group number two, can you do the shark story? And group number 3 and 5, can you do the New Year's Eve story, please? Okay? And you have a checklist. And this checklist, by the way, I just want to tell you something about it. This checklist was developed by the International Federation of Librarians Associations, together with an organization called factcheck.org. And we've added one more part to it. We've added the image search thing. And these are really just very basic, incredibly basic tools that we hand out to the kids. So use that, and then go to your instructions. You've got 15 minutes, okay? And then I would really love for you to nominate one person who will have the microphone and can tell us what they found, okay? Yes? Excellent, thank you.
We will go in a breakout room as well online. All right, so we will rejoin at 32. See you later.
Perfect. Okay, almost time. It's almost time. I hope that you have designated somebody to present your post for you, and maybe we can already get the PowerPoint presentation back up again. That would be amazing. Thank you. You've got 2 more minutes. Can somebody help me with a PowerPoint presentation? I've done something. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think that's time, isn't it? Okay, it's 31. Are you ready? Please, who do we start with? And Adeline, one thing we've not thought through is how we're going to time it so that your online groups also have time. How many online groups are there? Adeline's having a coffee break, which I wish I was having as well. Okay, we'll find out in a minute. So maybe we can start here already. And why don't we start with let's start with group 1, Sorry. Okay? And we've kind of given ourselves only 10 minutes to go through everybody, so keep it tight and come and present. Will you come and? Yeah, fantastic. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
wherever you like. You can stand in the front. Why don't you stand in the front?
No. Okay.
And maybe you can even put.
Yeah. Hi. We had this garlic story. Well, it looks from afar as a fake story, and trying this checklist. Yes, I do have my own mind, and it is influencing me, but it's from experience. So this would be one way to approach it. We couldn't really use all of these checks since we can't tell the source. I mean, it comes probably from Facebook, and we can't dig deeper or find the author. But it's easy to Google for the content and find a couple of fact-checking sites that claim the story is fake. It doesn't sound as a joke because it's asked quite sincerely to pass it on, and it's not really funny. No date, no image. Well, we couldn't talk to experts, but I rely on these fact-checking sites. That's it.
Great. Well done. So fake, right?
Fake.
Yeah. Well done. Thank you. Well done.
Hello, Juliana. We're back.
Oh, hello. We just started for group 1.
Okay. We haven't missed anything.
How many groups do you have?
We have one group that worked on the garlic soup.
And how should we do it? Should we have? I'm not quite sure. Actually, I've not planned for this. I'm so sorry. Adeline, have you only got one group?
Yes.
You've got one group and they did garlic? Okay,
yes.
Cool. So why don't we do one other thing and then they can be the second group to do garlic, okay?
Okay.
So shall we have the group number 2, please?
Okay.
True or false?
It's false.
Well done.
Okay. The first image of the shark was taken to 12, and it was posted by a Scottish blogger. His name Jason Michael McCain. And every year when some tornado or hurricane came to America or other part of the world, he puts up that image to show us how the fake news works. the image of the shark was cut off the National Geographic original 2005 image, shark swimming into the seas, and it was photoshopped. And there are like more than 1,000 searches on that app.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. It's been circulating. Whenever there's a storm, the shark turns up. Did you find the original image of the shark?
Yes, we did.
I'll show it afterwards. I've got it on the slideshow.
Okay.
Yeah. And so of the checklist, no, we'll do that later. I'm slightly worried about time. So we'll go on to, thank you very much. Well done. Good. Okay. Group number 3, you've got the hardest one, and so do you. So maybe you start, and then maybe we'll give you like 2 minutes to present yours, see how far you go, and then this group finishes up.
Yeah, so...
True or false, first of all?
Well, it's not totally false, and it's not totally true, I would say.
It's not clear?
Yeah, it's not clear with our story. So our story was about New Year's Eve, and we tried to go through your checklist as much as possible. So at first we checked the source. So the source, the web page, it's known that this web page is not a good source of information. The second one, we tried to go deeper and try to find the story on some other web pages. We found that, but it looks like that they combined different stories, like that they find some how to say it, this group of people who attacked the families, and they combined a little bit with some other. They did attack police family, but they light up the church, but just for a little. And the author of this news is not also very, how to say, responsible. It has different, credible, yeah, it's not very credible. And we tried to compare with others. So we found that it looks tricky a little bit, yeah. So.
Well done, well done. Like, you touched on loads of really, really important things, and I can tell you, I'm going to put you out of your misery in case you're wondering, it's a fake. And I'll tell you why in a second, okay? It's a really sophisticated fake. It is incredibly hard, and it cannot be got rid of online. It's still there, it's all over the shop, and I'll tell you how I found out that it was a fake in a minute. Okay, great. So, Adeline, do you want to have group number, your newsroom group do the garlic?
Yes, exactly. I think Tina can actually tell us a bit more.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. Okay, so we had garlic soup from WhatsApp. It seemed, for me personally, a little bit like too easy and too hard. Easy on a way, you spot on it, it's fake, but it's hard, like you have to dig into say why it's fake. And in our group we also discussed that it's for us it's fake because it's on WhatsApp, but it may not be the case with our students. So from there we went to the content, and it started with the words "pass it on," which used to be a chainmail words to use and not news words to use. And then there is this Chinese doctor who we cannot really identify. What's his name? There is no link to his work or what's the evidence behind it. So we also tried Googling it, and if you Google coronavirus and garlic soup, you get the WHO fact check where it says that it's healthy, but it's not a miracle with COVID. And also the language, what is used is not really so good as it might be. And the last point, what was really on the last seconds, was that also trust yourself. If you're doubting, just check it. If you have even the slightest doubt, just check it. So thank you.
Well done. Well done, well done. Okay, great. What about you guys? Did you have the shark?
Garlic.
You got the shark?
Oh, the garlic soup.
The garlic, oh, you had the garlic soup. Of course you had the garlic soup, yes. Go for it. Oh, right, sorry, we've got 2 garlic soups after each other. But did you think about maybe why this was circulating, why somebody would be putting this out?
Yeah, I mean, first we thought that along the lines of maybe chain messages, like sometimes when you get chain messages or like spam links and it gets into web viruses, which just go everywhere basically. Yeah. That was the first thought because it's, like they said, it's on WhatsApp, so it can be spread pretty quickly. And then also biological thinking, because basically garlic is considered a natural antibiotic, but as we know, corona is a virus, and antibiotics kill bacteria and fungi, not viruses. So in either way, it couldn't really help that way. And then we thought about that maybe it could start as a joke between friends. Like sometimes people just joke around, send each other like funny photos or funny stories, but then a person maybe doesn't know how to take a joke, and they take the story seriously, and they pass it on as a serious news, as something that maybe actually be helpful, and then it gets taken as a real thing, and then everybody believes it because they don't even have a source. And then if it really were true and effective in the way that it says, then we would have heard of it, like on the news or on the internet or anywhere, like the way we heard of the vaccine, like everybody's getting vaccinated or something, and we heard of people that are trying to cure it already, like of the pills and stuff. We heard of all of that, but we never heard of garlic soup. So if it were true, we'd heard of it before. And then, and then also that the original message was probably in Chinese, since it says Chinese doctor. And we know how translations can be difficult sometimes, and it can get, the context and the meaning could get mixed up because some words have multiple meanings in different languages, and then we can get a completely wrong message at the end from what it originally was.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Well done. Yeah, that's really gone into a lot of depth. That's really brilliant. You can go, even when they're quite simple, you can go into quite a lot of detail about them. And finally, group 5, you've got the shark. Who's presenting?
We had the New Year's Eve, not the shark.
Oh, you had New Year's Eve. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, it's been a really long day. Go. Oh, fantastic. Good. Okay, go for it. Go for it. What did you find?
I think we've heard most of the answers that we came up with. So maybe we start with the discussion instead of the article as well. So we thought it's convincing because if you look at the picture, I mean, it's like a real mob, and you can see police helmets and everything. I mean, it must be true, right? But even then, if you look at the video that's embedded, there's no attacks. There's nothing actually going on. No fire, no churches, nothing. And even at the bottom of the article, there's in red letters written that it was deemed as fake news. And if you look at the link that they have to the German police, it says it was a quiet night. So, yeah, and the author, if you Google the name, is a spy from the Second World War. Yeah. She has a lot of articles on this website, but nowhere else does she even exist. So it's here to increase racial hate, I think. It must be something, and it's clickbait. I mean, there's so many ads on this page. They're just making money. Because you read it, oh my God, there's a mob attack on police.
Did you activate the video?
Yeah, we did.
You did? Yeah. Right?
Nothing special. I mean, no attacks, no mobs.
You know.
They were gathering, they were celebrating.
Do you look at the flag? There's a man who's sitting on the shoulders and he's unfolding the flag.
A Syrian flag, I think,
Yeah,
they were celebrating ceasefire in Syria. I mean, celebrating, not attacking anything,
Yeah. So what was your conclusion?
I mean, it is fake news, even though they did gather on that day and they did celebrate, but they didn't attack anyone or burn down a church or whatever.
Yeah. So thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Thanks so much for participating. I'm really worried about time because I know that you guys need to go home. And I don't even know where to start. Hang on. Okay, so first of all, the really easy ones, right? So, there we go. You all got the shark, right? And the original image. This has been shared. It always pops up. Oh, there we go. It was actually, poor guy, right? It was a photographer, National Geographic, who took this beautiful picture of a shark. And there's actually very clever people at a place called We Verify who've really like measured everything, and they can tell you with exact, complete certainty that this is the same, this is the same photo because of they've done it in a way that we can't do it, but they do it. And, obviously you can get, the beauty about this story is that it's far away, it's got nothing to do with politics, at least on the outside. It's kind of fun. The kids love it because they love the reverse image search because it's like magic. All of a sudden something comes up, And then you can go into quite a lot of stuff about like distrust of the government, distrust of the state, why aren't they looking after us, blah, blah, blah. Why would you put it out there without ever actually overtly going into anything political at all? And the garlic one, I'm sorry, actually the slide that I wanted to have for you was the one of the World Health Organization, which literally did an international poster campaign to try and unroot this terrible lie, which was just incredible. This is an Austrian fact-checking site. But, no. So I'm going to say something very briefly about the New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve is one of the reasons I started Lie Detectors, because I met a 13-year-old girl who first got something about Hillary Clinton and Trump, and it was a Russian fake. And then months later, she received, and her group, somehow, I don't know whether it was just like friends or whether it was the algorithm, they also received this story, right? And that at the time in Germany was unbelievably divisive. And it plays on confirmation bias because there was something called New Year's Eve in Cologne. Who's heard of New Year's Eve in Cologne? Anybody heard about it? Bad reporting by the press. The press reported it badly. Something bad happened in Cologne one New Year's Eve, and the press didn't want to write about it, and they tried not to write about it. So therefore, anyway, the picture I'm talking about. I really recommend that you look really closely into it. I spent hours trying to make sure that I was able to properly debunk this, and ended up in the end calling up the original journalist who wrote the original story, who, by the way, has been getting death threats ever since, because he's been trying to tell people that what Breitbart and an Austrian right-wing blog and a member of the Austrian parliament actually then started perpetrating was not correct. And so this is where these things can get, we very rarely use that one, just because it's so hard, you don't have the time, and it is just, you have to be careful when we walk into a classroom, we can make no assumptions about who's in that classroom, and we also can't just walk out and leave the teacher to deal with a potentially really kind of inflammatory situation, So that's why we use, and I was talking to Sonia yesterday, who was also talking about like why we need to work with non-political examples, so that when they find something like Breitbart, they already have the skills to start working on it, So I'm going to tell you just a little bit, so we're almost out of time, and I wanted to maybe, I don't know whether you have questions, so. Okay, we've got 12 minutes, so I'm just going to run through this. If you have questions, we can do questions, and if not, I can show you a bit more about this. So when we talk to kids about this, we try to use lots of different words, right? So that we really, so that we find the words that trigger and that resonate with the children. You can't expect that the words are the same, right? Because there's memes, there's all sorts of weird stuff. Sometimes it might not even, we're not there yet, right? But maybe at some point we might need to say a picture or an emoticon instead of words for the reason, right? Because the way that kids talk about this stuff is different. And if, as a teacher, you want to talk to them about it, I'm so sorry, I'm almost talking like you're not there, right? I'm sorry, I don't mean to do that. But that's the thing, right? That's what we worry a lot about. Are we actually meeting you guys where you are and using the words that actually matter to you, rather than coming off with something that just sounds like the evening news again, So we really recommend keeping it light, as I've said, making sure that people actually have tools, not just making people scared, but actually also giving them the tools. Also reminding ourselves and everybody around that not everything is terrible, right? And you don't have to fact check every last thing. You'll be exhausted by lunchtime. But you do want to have the skills so that when it matters, you know to stop and think and check. that's kind of the same issue. Choose your battles. Oh, and breathe, like you were saying during the break. One of the most revolutionary things, and I have to say that it's what the platforms don't really want us to do, right? I don't know if you've been following the Facebook pages, but resisting the engagement, you know, we're online and the urge is to click and engage. And to actually resist that, it's not that hard once you start, but it is something that we have to remind people to do. And that's it. Pause before you share. See? Okay, so here are some verification sites, some fact-checking sites in case you're interested. I'm also really happy to share this PowerPoint presentation with whoever would like it. Not all of these, unfortunately, are still active because often these fact-checking sites exist for a short amount of time during election cycles while people are paying attention, when they can find a funder for a few months to do this, and then the elections are gone and nobody's checking facts anymore, you know? So unfortunately, this is what happens. But some of them are obviously still around. Oh, then there's some really great games. Because we talked about games on the panel as well, like the importance of keeping it light and everything. There's some really cool games. Get Bad News actually rewards you for putting a fake online and making it go viral. The more viral, the more points you get. And anybody who clicks on it then gets a message that says, haha, you have been fooled by a 12-year-old. So it kind of shares the learning and the love. Then there's Factitious, which is really good fun. I don't even know whether they're still going. No, they are still going, and they've got some really nice COVID examples now. And then if you're interested in conspiracy theories, we've not talked about them. There's a fantastic psychologist at Bristol University called Stephen Lewandowski who's written this conspiracy theory handbook, which I really, really recommend. It's only 12 pages long, and you'll learn an awful lot. He's also done a debunking handbook, which is also really good. And then there's there we go. There's the debunking handbook. And the title is wrong. This is our collection of our favorite games and exercises, which we're happy to send you as well. And there's a very long, elongated form of the New Year's Eve exercise with like an awful lot of, and links to various other things. Oh, well, there we go. I wanted there to be a slide that said, thank you, or questions. So anyway, thank you. And do you have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Did anybody learn anything? Hands up, oh, good, well done. Good children, very good. All right, well, it's been a really long day and I'm sure that you all want to go home, but if you have questions, Adeline, did any of your group have questions?
I don't see anything in the chat, but I've seen a lot of nodding. But I think online as well, the good side of online is that I was able to share the links online. So I think a lot of people are actually busy looking at that, but no questions here.
Okay, great. And would you like to add something? It's worked out quite well, hasn't it?
No, I think it worked out quite well. I hope that the online participant enjoyed it as well, but I think we had a nice discussion. The A-flat checklist is also, I think, a great tool so the checklist that you've been working on, it's actually something that can be used for anything. So I think, to me, that's the most useful one, and it deserves a lot of attention as well. Yeah. But regardless, if you are in front of a TikTok video, you can still ask yourself, check the author, check the source, is it a joke? And it works. And it will probably work on the next on the next platform that we're not aware about, but that will probably come up in the next months.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
And I was really happy to be there.
Yeah, I'm really happy that it worked out like this. We were slightly worried about whether it was going to work, but it has totally worked. We should do it again. Okay, so if you have any questions, there we go. We have a question.
Hey, well, actually, I have too many questions, so I'll resort to a comment more. we'd very much like to start or develop something similar here, so we hope for your support in this, and I'll keep chasing you, and we know Sonia.
So I have very bad tinnitus, and I'm having a horrible time hearing you, so I'm going to ask Sonia to tell me what you've... I'm so sorry. I should have said it before. Go on.
They just basically want to do something together with you.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. It's really hard in this echoey hall with the masks. I rely on lip reading a lot. Yeah, but yes, yeah, let's talk afterwards, yeah? Definitely, I'd love to. Yes. Sonia? I'm going to stand here where Sonia can tell me what you're saying.
Just a short question. I was wondering if Fortnite actually has any news, or why would it be considered a feed for news? I mean, I know it's a game, but where do they get news from it? Or
Fortnite's considered... Oh, that's
I
really good.
saw people playing.
So is Fortnite considered social media? So
yeah.
Fortnite is a... Who knows what Fortnite is?
It's a game.
Okay, can you say what Fortnite is?
Well, Fortnite is basically a video game, so the only way you can transfer, basically you can talk to other players, but only in chat, so yes. You can't spread much information. It's more of, it's not really social media.
Yes, and so our question when we ask students is, where do you go to inform yourself about things happening in the world? And they tell us Fortnite. Yes, and I'll also tell you there's some really amazing articles out there about, and I'm just completely blanking on this conspiracy theory that's at QAnon, right? You all know what QAnon is? Okay, QAnon was born on a gaming website where people are gaming. They're just gaming, that's all they're doing, right? And then they start chatting. There's I can't remember where the article was, but there's an extraordinary article that really details it started on a gaming website, and then on a gaming platform, and then leapt into a blog, and from a blog to somewhere else, and into the mainstream media. And now we have members of Congress, and that's where it started. So, yes, we consider it, I mean, maybe we shouldn't be calling it social media, but we call it apps, right? We ask the kids, what apps do you go to inform yourself? That's why we ask that question very, very deliberately. Yeah.
Yeah, I can comment a bit on that phenomenon for you. Actually, even back in the time of, since I'm a long-time gamer and gaming coach, even back in the time of MMO games, you got at least 50%, if not more, information about state of the world and information from people you played with. And through games, especially cooperative games and competitive games that are team-based, not solo games, you get a lot of online friends, you meet a lot of people, and they keep telling you stories about how it works in their state. So that actually becomes a news outlet for both your and my generation, since, well, we are born and raised with computers.
Okay, guys, I'm afraid it's 2 minutes to, and we have to be out of this room by 6 o'clock. So I'm really, really grateful that you came. It's really fun. It was much more fun than I thought it would be. I was really worried about the setup, and it worked really. I've had a really nice time. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that you got something out of it. I'm really email us or message us or whatever you want to do if you want to get the PowerPoint presentation. We are seriously thinking about what country to go into next. It kind of depends on media landscapes, media health, and also the kind of, well, we will be going, and we're piloting in the US next year. So we're doing a lot of new stuff. Keep us in mind. Let us know if you want to get in touch, if you want any of our material, all of our material. We have like these news challenges that we give to students to work on that have like question sheets and answer sheets for the teachers. They're all online, so you can have them if you want them. Thank you so much. Thank you, Adeline. Thank you very much, Adeline.
Thank you, everyone.